Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of News for You. My name is Julian Baudouin. I am the Executive Director of the Hub South Dakota. Today we are here with a special guest, Perla. I will kick it off to her for an introduction here in just a minute, but I want to tell you a little bit about News for You and what we do. Again, my name is Julian Baudouin. The Hub South Dakota is actually a member of the South Dakota Dream Coalition. This particular program is going to be broadcast in both English and also in Spanish. Perla, you're joining us for both broadcasts, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are pleased to have you here with us today. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kick things off today.
Okay, great. My name is Perla Chavez, Alarcon. I'm originally from Yankton area, and then I moved up to Sioux Falls to go to school. I went to USF, and I graduated with my bachelor's in social work there in 2022. Before I even graduated with that, actually, the week before that, I started grad school at USD. So then I went right into my MSW program at USD, and I did the accelerated track for a year. During those two experiences, I was able to work in an elementary school doing like social emotional learning, K through 5th grade. Then I was also able to do an internship at HSC, the Human Services Center in Yankton. That was a lot adults and psych rehab who are there for a longer term, not just acute care. And then I also did an internship at Southeastern Behavioral Health here in town, and I worked with kids from K all the way to 12th grade. So I still do that, but primarily mostly with teenagers in middle school and high school. So I'm happy to be here and get this conversation started.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as you can tell, there's going to be a wealth of knowledge that will be shared with us today. We do have some questions that we've previously gone over that we will go ahead and hop into in just a minute. Before we do so, as we do every episode, we want to remind you to follow us on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Today we are going live on both Facebook accounts and also on our YouTube accounts on the Hub South Dakota, also South Dakota Voices for Peace. Please follow those social media pages, and then also follow News for You's Facebook page as we anticipate going live directly from that source very, very soon. Also, as a reminder, this is powered by the South Dakota Dream Coalition, and the South Dakota Dream Coalition is made up of several immigrant-facing and immigrant-led organizations to make sure that we're bringing accurate and timely news directly to families in South Dakota. So, with that said, let's talk about this particular episode. So we are going to go over a couple of things. First off, we're going to talk about the Yankton Job Fair, and then we're going to hop into mental health and some of the basics around mental health, how to identify certain issues, and also provide certain strategies to your children. The one thing we wanted to kind of jump off and talk about is things that are happening directly in the news right now. Simple Foods processing plant down in Yankton unexpectedly closed this week, and it left about 300 employees to find another job. So the South Dakota Dream Coalition members, Connecting Cultures, as well as South Dakota Voices for Peace, along with some other community leaders down in Yankton, are coming together to do a job fair or job and resource fair on Tuesday, March 25th at 9 a.m. It'll last until 1 p.m., and it's at the National Field Archery Association headquarters. Spanish interpreters will be available, so please show up if you are one of those folks that were affected. Even if you're not one of those folks that were affected and you're looking for a job, please show up. We will have resources available. We will also have folks available to lead you in the direction in which you need to be going in your community for the best fit for your family. So, all right, this is our first guest at News for You. Perla, say your full name for me again.
Perla Chavez, Alarcon.
And so you're a licensed clinical social worker. Are you currently working as a social worker or a therapist?
Well, so my position is unique. So I do both like social work and I do therapy. So I work with families if they need assistance in filling out Medicaid, if they need any resources in town, connecting them to whatever they need in the city of Sioux Falls. But all my clients come from the Sioux Falls School District. Okay. And then additionally to that, working with the families, I do individual therapy with the kiddos in the families, or in office with them.
So what led you to become a mental health therapist? What are some of, you've talked about the things you specialized in, but what's your motivation? What led you there?
Well, surprisingly enough, my father is one of the people that was affected with the simples. So I grew up in an immigrant household, and I've always translated. I've helped people in the Yankton community, my own family, anywhere, educationally, hospital settings. So I knew that I always wanted to help. I just didn't know how I wanted to. And then I went to school. I studied social work, and then I loved it because you can do everything. You can work with individuals, communities, organizations, and I love working with people. So I decided to try out therapy. So then that's why I went and got my MSW so I could specialize in individual counseling. But in this role, I've realized that I can do more than just that. So I could work the whole well-being of a family.
Yeah. And so for those who don't know, MSW stands for Masters of Social Work?
Yes.
Okay.
Master's Social Work.
All right. So awesome. Now, so this really hits home for you then.
Yeah.
And I know it's stressful for a lot of families out there, particularly immigrant communities. Let's maybe shift focus a little bit. Talk about the different ways you have seen in your career stress come out in situations like this. What do families typically deal with? How do they react? And then after that, we'll maybe jump into kind of understanding how to react to those situations as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently, but a lot of times these families are in fight or flight or freeze. So it's usually like go, 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 or I mean, they finally get a moment to catch their breath, but like some examples are like, yeah, I know families that have been affected by this closure.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, okay, what's our next move? What are we gonna do? We gotta think about the kids. Or like when we were younger, or when I was younger, it was like, we have to move different towns so we can get a job. So it just comes out differently and it affects everybody differently. The kiddos are like, I don't wanna leave school. Parents are like, we have to in order to survive and make a living. And then emotionally it affects you because you have this whole different new adjustment that you have to get used to. New people, new locations. Some people it's different languages, and some of them don't have the support that they would have if they were in like their home countries.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of talked a little bit about when you said with the kids, especially those who don't necessarily have an understanding of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's so important for those around them to have a complete understanding of mental health?
Because sometimes it's easy to just be like, it'll be fine, you're fine, it's just like a phase. But these little things affect you in the long term. Mm. So if you don't understand and try to process what's going on with you right now, in the long term, you might have consequences that will affect your relationships, your career. So it's important to address those issues right now, or not issues, but validate what's going on in your life.
So I know we refer to that type of sentiment a lot as generational trauma. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what generational trauma is? Sometimes it doesn't just affect the person in the situation, but it can affect generations to come. Can you talk about maybe the importance of understanding that aspect of stress as well?
Definitely. So a lot of families have generations where we immigrated to the US. We have experiences that then pass on to our families, our children, then our children's children. And if we cope with it a certain way, then the next generation is going to learn to cope with it that way. And those can be positive or they can be negative. So all those traumas that we experience like generations ago, little Johnny might also have an impact of it. Like my children will have an impact of growing up in the United States because our families came to America, right? And so I am trying to break those invalidating cycles and try to show emotional support to the next generation so then we don't keep on struggling and we can move forward.
So then let's talk about things to look out for. Mm-hmm. I know oftentimes we refer to those things as triggers when you talk about trauma, but how do we as parents or as family members or as loved ones, how do we notice those things that are happening and maybe be able to cut them off before they happen or provide support around those things? What are the things we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so it's not a specific thing that you're going to look for, but there's a variety of different things that might happen when your kiddo is misbehaving. They're wanting to like skip school. Is there a reason? Something's going on? Attachment issues like separation anxiety, especially now, like if I go to school and I come back, what if you're not there? So there's a lot of things to look out for, especially just like anxiety with like the police. Like I see them and I tense up. How can we relax ourselves without like reacting negatively to it or having an outburst with somebody else? There's also like physical pain. Sometimes it's easier to say my stomach hurts than to acknowledge that, oh, I feel anxious and like I'm having these reactions physically. So there's a lot of things that you can look out for, but those are some of the most common ones.
That's absolutely huge and crucial for parents to understand for sure. Let's now kind of maybe give some tools that parents can use when children are showing symptoms of maybe poor mental health. What are some of the things that parents can do now?
Yeah, so one thing that I get a lot from my parents is they won't talk to me. And yeah, that's often because of previous experiences that they have had. So like I came to them one time and they just like were busy and they brushed me off. So then that gives them the, oh, when's a good time? We don't know. So maybe setting like a set time of, okay, today or every day at 7 p.m. It might get annoying, but we're just going to sit down and we're going to communicate about what happened in our day. And you can just be honest and say you have something, or no, there's nothing to talk about. And we're not going to push it. We're not going to say, really, nothing happened, because that happens a lot. We want to know what's going on in their lives. But sometimes it wasn't anything big to share, right? So setting aside a time for that, then as well as like sharing your own feelings as a parent with the kid. Sometimes they think, oh, my parents are like perfect, or like they're busy and they don't have time to listen. But like adults are stressed out too. And it's okay to show your kid that you're sometimes struggling as well. Like that shows that you're human and it's okay to do. So just having that support for them and showing them that you have those similar feelings, even if it's not from like the same situation. Other things that you can do is you can like do distracting skills with them. You can go on walks, you can draw with them, or like maybe they don't want to talk about their day, but draw an event that happened or something that was significant during that day, or have a movie, anything that does like self-care with them. Ask them. Sometimes they don't want to watch your movies from like the 80s or something, but if they maybe want to watch like the new Hunger Games movies that are coming out, I don't know. So it's always best to ask them what they want. It's not that hard. So communicating with them is essential for it to be a good relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And vulnerability is so important when you're talking about adults. Sometimes, of course, we want to be their heroes so often that we don't show vulnerability, and sometimes that can harm our children in the way they're growing up. So I appreciate you mentioning that. Before we kind of close off this, is there anything else that you wanted to add to our conversation today?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe just one. If you really feel like you're struggling, know that there's support for you out there. Maybe you just don't know where to find it. So you can always reach out to like the 988 hotline. You can text it, call it, or you can look on the website 211 as well for any additional resources.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll have you back again soon, because we just basically touched on just a little bit of what you do. And so I know there's a lot more knowledge to tap into. So thank you again. Before we wrap up, I just want to give you guys a couple of reminders that we have. So free power of attorneys. Remember, power of attorneys are free. We'll continue to harp on that, but we're also going to continue to provide resources for you to get those power of attorneys. So how to keep your children and financial assets safe if you are either detained or deported. South Dakota Dream Coalition partners are notarizing and providing free copies of power of attorneys. You can get those printed off for free from South Dakota Voices for Peace website. Now in Sioux Falls, you can call Caminado Juntos at 605-274-3735, and you can make an appointment to fill out your power of attorney. They also have people there who can provide notary stamps. Every Monday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can go to South Dakota Voices for Peace office, which is located at 1st Congressional UCC Church. That's on 300 South Minnesota Avenue. And they will be able to help you fill out a power of attorney as well. They have Spanish speakers. and people who can also provide a notary to you. You do not have to make an appointment with South Dakota Voices for Peace. You can call if those hours or those dates don't work for you. You can call up to South Dakota Voices for Peace, and their number is 605-782-9560. And you can make an appointment for another day. Again, that's if the Monday does not work for you from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There's also Knowledge Smith's taxing and accounting services. They have POAs available. They also have Spanish-speaking staff available, as well as notaries that are on site. So we ask that you call ahead for them, and then their number is 605-332-5255. So make sure you call that number ahead of going. If you need me to repeat that number, we can certainly put that down in the comments below, or this is a stream, so just rewind it and you'll be able to catch it. So those are the options you have in Sioux Falls. We also want to make sure you have some options down in Yankton. So if you do live in Yankton, please connect or contact Connecting Cultures. They do ask that you send them a Facebook message, and then they will be able to assist you that way. So as we continue to hear of more options or more opportunities, and as we continue to connect with more organizations doing this type of work, we will be sure to add them to our list. Again, as we've said in the past, if you have anyone or any organization that you would like to recommend to help us in this situation, please send them our way as well as adding to the conversations that we have. If there's something that you want to hear or questions that you have, please also send them our way to South Dakota Voices for Peace, or you can go directly to News for You and send us a message there too. So, one other thing. If, in fact, you can't make it and maybe you have a community group that's getting together and you'd like us to show up to you, we are more than willing and more than happy to do that as well. So whether it's a soccer club event, church event, family event, we are more than happy to bring those power of attorney forms to you, as well as some Spanish-speaking individuals and notaries directly to you as well. One thing that we say in every single episode is, remember, you have the right to remain silent if law enforcement asks you any questions. You should not allow law enforcement to enter your private space, like your home or your apartment, without a valid judicial warrant. To learn more information about any of that information that I just shared, please tune in to any previous News for You episodes and also visit South Dakota Voices for Peace website. Again, thank you so much for watching. We can't do this without your support, so please continue to support, please donate, and please continue to watch and share these live episodes that we're doing on both Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube. Thank you, and have a great day.